members of the Presidency, authorities, and distinguished guests. I am humbled and most grateful to have been chosen to receive the BBVA Frontiers of Knowledge Award in Information and Communication Technologies from this foundation, an organization that, as you heard, is devoted to the promotion of research and to the advancement of knowledge. This is indeed a singular honor. There is a fundamental sequence of phases that occur in the life cycle of any particular scientific research that leads to major technological advantages. To illustrate this, I'd like to share with you the journey that I have taken in the case of the Internet. In the first phase, there's the recognition of a need, a desire, a dream, if you will. In my case, this took place when, as an MIT graduate student in 1959, I found myself surrounded by heterogeneous computers, and I recognized that they would need to communicate with each other. Yet at the time, there was no adequate technology to support such communication. This was a challenging problem. It had not been studied. It's one whose solution would have impact, and I saw how to solve it. Perfect problem to work on. In the second phase, there's the expression of a vision to fulfill that dream, and there have been a number of visions over the days. Rare individuals had articulated visions of what one day would become the Internet. One of the earliest expressions imagined that, quote, "It will be possible for a businessman in New York to dictate instructions and have them instantly appear in type at his office in London or elsewhere. An inexpensive instrument, no larger than a watch, will enable its bearer to deliver any picture, character, drawing, or print from one to another place," end quote. Amazingly, this quote is from the great Nikola Tesla from 1908, more than 100 years ago. So the vision's been there for a while. In the third phase, one must conduct the basic science and mathematics to give substance to that dream. In my case, as a PhD graduate student, in 1962, I established a mathematical theory of computer networks, set up the analytical model, carried out the mathematical solution, articulated the underlying principles that makes that technology so effective. So the understanding was important as well as the development. Consequently, as a scientist, I knew how the technology should behave well before it was implemented. But as an engineer, I also knew what we didn't know. And so we had to experiment along the way. The experimentation was and is critical to the journey of success. In the fourth phase, the technology must be implemented and deployed. Surprisingly, once the theory was laid out and proven, and this was over 50 years ago, the ideas were unwelcome, ridiculed, and dismissed outright by the entrenched networking industry. It took years before the fundamental ideas were implemented into the practical realization we now call the Internet. Today's Internet has captured the imagination and attention of the entire globe. It provides enormous benefits to humanity in so many wonderful and crucial ways, while at the same time presenting serious challenges to its appropriate use. So what does its future hold? As regards the future infrastructure, I foresee that we are creating a pervasive global nervous system. The Internet will be everywhere, and it will be invisible in that it will disappear into the infrastructure. As regards future applications and services, we must recognize that delightful applications in the past have mostly been unanticipated, surprising, and explosive. So what we can predict is that we will be unable to predict their future. How lovely. We have indeed created a global system that will constantly shock us with surprises. Now, the Internet had to happen. It was in the air. It was a vision waiting for technology to catch up. And it would have happened if none of us as pioneers had ever been born. As long as young minds are encouraged to courageously pursue knowledge at the frontier, we will continue to have breakthroughs that have dramatic and beneficial impact to humanity. My thanks go to the billions of internet users who contribute to its wonders, to my brilliant MIT mentors, such as Claude Shannon and the most recent winner of this BBVA award, Marvin Minsky, to my MIT office mates, such as former BBVA winners, Tom Kyleth and Jacob Ziv, and to that small army of amazing PhD students that I've mentored, to my brilliant colleagues, and importantly, to my family, especially my wife, who is here to share this magnificent, humbling award with me today. To the BBVA Foundation, I say, muchas gracias.